Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Been a while since I've posted a video. Life's been kind of crazy, just trying to get caught up. So anyway, getting back to the swing of things, I'm building a new kit, an HB Racing D819RS. So what I thought I'd do in this video is, as I come across them, I'm going to do some quick tips on things I do a little bit different than what's in the kit. So stay tuned and I'll piece these together and hopefully it'll help you out as you build your kit. Okay, so I'm building the diffs. Now I've prepped these diffs ahead of time because what I do takes a little time to cure. So I start off with drill some holes a little bit smaller than the holes on the top where the screw goes. I drill a hole all the way through. That way, if you get any oil or whatever, it can come out the bottom. There's no pressure in there. Just seems to help out a little bit. Just a quick and easy thing. Another thing I do, and a lot of people already know to do this, is a little bit of CA glue where the plastic and the metal on the bottom of the cup seal together. This is what takes a little bit of time. So I'll just put a light coat around there. Don't build up too much so it has any problem interfering with the bearing. Let it sit. You know, if you can let it sit several hours, it'd be great. So usually when I get a kit, if I don't already have them prepped like these, that's the first thing I'll do. I'll go ahead and prep those, put them aside, and start working on something else. By the time you're done and get back to it, it should be good to go. Another thing I do, anytime on these plastic parts, on just about any of them, to get the screw started, I'll take a hole reamer, just lightly put a chamfer in there, just a little quick turn on the side sealing screw. On these top ones, it lets the screw start a little easier. Do that on several parts that screws a screw into plastic. One more thing I do is I'll put a piece of sandpaper down, light grit sandpaper, and just run it across sandpaper to flatten it out, because there will be some mold marks, a little tab here and there that might be raised, keep it from sealing good. So that's about all I do the diff. Other than that, I build it like normal, and we'll call that one done and go on to the next tip. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention on the diff build is I'll go ahead and, before I get them all oily and nasty, I'll go ahead and mark the cup on what diff fluid I'm putting in it. Mine is 7, 5, and 2, so I just take a silver Sharpie and mark that on there. The last thing I do is do a little prep work on the outdrives. So I'll take the Dremel with a small grinding bit, and on these outside edges where the dog bone goes in, just give it a little quick run to clean any burrs off, and also take the flat spot and kind of rough it up. That kind of breaks down on the hurries up the break-in process. So just do a little quick run on here. There you have it. Nothing fancy, just takes off any burred edges and roughs up the friction surface there for the dog bone. So anyway, that should complete the diffs. I'll go ahead and build them as normal other than that, and I'll get back with you. Okay, I guess I'm going to keep coming up with things as I go that I forget that I do different. So one other thing I do in the diff is I chamfer the edge of the cross pins. If you can see that, just take the sharp edge off of that so there's no friction on the ends of it. Just a little tip that David Ronafalk does. And the way I do that is I go ahead and chuck it up in a drill, get my Dremel with the trusty sanding wheel, and just quickly hit it like that. pretty much all it takes. Not sure if you can This thing has trouble focusing. Just takes a little chamfer on the edge just to take any sharp edges off so there's no friction there on the ends. So anyway, there you go. Hopefully that'll end the diff building process, and we'll get on to the next tip. Okay, my next tip is going to be on the turnbuckles. A lot of people don't know this, but on the turnbuckle there is a shiny side and a dull side. It is intended for you to put your ball ends or pivot balls, whatever you want to call them, through the shiny end. You'll notice if you measure it, the shiny end, this particular one, this is a rear outer turnbuckle. The rear shiny side is 254 thousandths of an inch. I'm not doing millimeters here, but the non-shiny side is 237 thousandths. So it is a tiny bit bigger, and it's shiny, so the ball slides in there easy. It doesn't. That's the way it's intended on doing. If you push it through the other side, it's going to spread out more and not be as smooth, and it'll won't be as tight of a fit. Okay, so there's that. Always push it in from the shiny side. Next thing is, these things are always hard to get started, so I do similar to what I do on the diff cups. Take your hole reamer, put a little chamfer on the edge. Doesn't take much, just a little bit on each one. That'll help it get started easier. These things are still a pain in the butt, but that does help out some. And the only other thing is to be careful is turnbuckles have a notch. Most people know this already. That notch is intended to where I always put it on the left side. So if you're looking at from the back of the car, the notch on every turnbuckle goes to the left. That way, when you're adjusting the car, you're adjusting it the same direction on both sides. If you get them flopped over, you're going to have to turn one way to go in, one way to go out, and vice versa. So notch always on the left side. So that's pretty much for it. Everything else as far as the turnbuckle installation is straightforward. Okay, so next tip is on the side guards where the servo tray sits. There's a little indentation where they put the Velcro on the side here. It's really tight fit, so what you can do is line it up where the tray goes, and you got about this first 20 millimeters or so needs just a little trimming. So what I'll do is I'll take the caliper, set them at 20 millimeters, and just scratch it, and then just take the Dremel out off some of that plastic right there. You don't have to take all of it, just a little bit, and that'll make it fit a little easier. So we'll do that now. Oh, my battery went dead. I think I'm right there where I need to be anyway. So then I'll take and just trim this little bit of plastic with my knife. Pretty much that's what you're doing there, is just taking a little bit of material off right there, and that's going to leave you a little bit of room, a little more clearance for the servo tray to fit in there right. Okay, so be on the next one. Okay, so the next tip is about the steering Ackerman bar and the little nuts that go under it. Normally it comes with this Ackerman bar and these nuts, I guess you call them, that go on the bottom of the bushing. So I use the one off the Truggy, the D8T Evo 3, part number 204616, and the bushing is 204617. The reason being is the manual shows that you put these centered and you have to grind a chamfer on it. It's kind of difficult to do, and it's hard to get it lined up right and everything, but let me open these up. The Truggy Ackerman bar is keyed. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a notch in there, a milled out notch, and then the bushings already have a chamfer on it. It's hard to see, but there's a chamfer on there, and it's also keyed to fit that milled out spot on the Ackerman bar. So there's also 2 mounting holes in the Ackerman bar. The most forward one is the same exact thing that's on the buggy. I haven't tried, adjusting these as a tuning option yet, but that's there for an Ackerman adjustment. I never tried it on the Truggy either, but anyway, you can use these. If you want it in the stock location, just put it in the forward location, and this should make life easier. Now, once you get it on there, you may want to do a little grinding here on the plastic, just to get a little more clearance between where that dog bone goes in that cup, because it will touch it every now and then with chassis flex and whatnot. So just use your own judgment. Do a little bit of grinding if you need to. Make sure it's got plenty of clearance. So anyway, that's the next tip. Okay, I've got my Ackerman bar installed with the bushings. Just wanted to show you how it turned out. You can see where I grinded a little bit off of that, so when it gets close to it, it's got a little more clearance. Just round it off pretty much. It's real simple, nothing too complicated. Anyway, there you have it. Okay, there you have it. There's a few quick tips. Hopefully that'll help you out. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be glad to help. I got my kit 99% done. I got to get it all, the brake trim figured out, the steering, and get all the alignment stuff adjusted, and it'll be ready to go, get it broke in and get back to racing. So remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and have a good day.